Hi, I'm Paul from PR Wilson Media. And if you're one of those people who got set up on LinkedIn, got invites, decided to join, didn't really know what to do, some kind of online CV, is that it? This is a presentation for you. There's so much more you can do from a professional business networking point of view on LinkedIn now. So I'm going to go through some key focus areas and share some practical tips and live demonstrations as we go. So this, as you can see there, is Wire Women in Rural Enterprise. It's a pre-recording of a presentation I'm giving there. The pandas, well, think of me as I say, the social media personal trainer, somebody to guide, to help you along. Now, LinkedIn is the rocking horse, and I'm going to help you make your LinkedIn rock, he says. Talking of cheesy marketing, in this case, this isn't going to be all a theory and all hours and hours of material that you've got to think about and be on there and maintain a presence and keep this going. I'm really going to get to the most important, the most valuable tips that I've found have worked for me in the last few years, and more importantly, worked time and time again for my clients. You know, LinkedIn is not something that's just going to be treated as just another social media platform. The reality is that it's a gateway to so many other things. It's a resource. It's your virtual assistant, if you like. It can be used to organize your business world or to find people through people you already know. And that's the whole principle of networking. Yeah. The referrals and all that sort of thing. But first of all, you've got to pick and choose which bits to focus on, and that's what I'm here to help you with. So, what do you think number one focus area would be? Pretty sure most of you out there would say the LinkedIn profile. Obvious, right? It's there for you as a business person to set out your stall, to showcase what you can do, and also to see and show other people what other people are saying about you. Build your authority, really represent what you're about. So often though, people shy away from it. Well, I haven't really completed. They're almost embarrassed about their profile. And one of the first areas in terms of that immediate impact that I want to highlight here is your personal headline. So what's that? Right, so I've picked out a profile from one of the members of the group, and the first thing everyone will be aware of, I'm sure, is that you need that head and shoulders professional photo. Now that, whenever you put anything onto LinkedIn, that picture will go with you. But I wonder how many people have thought about the fact that something else travels with you all the time, and that's the personal headline description. You can see it here in this area. That is an opportunity really for you to put in a little bit more about the benefits of what you do. Now, the reason I've shared this second part here is that's from Lisa's website, and it's got some extra wording such as sole purpose coach, therapist, author. Well, none of that appears here in the headline at the moment. That's a kind of headline which you'd expect if when you fill out the LinkedIn application and you register, it says, what do you do? Well, I'm a director of this business. And that's it. Now, it takes 2 minutes to go back into profile, edit profile, and I'll show you all this later, and just amend the setting. And then you can even see examples of what other people are using in your industry. Things like separating it with little bars or stars, that kind of thing. Really effective. It's a 2-minute update, and that's the way we start. Second thing to highlight on this page is the custom link. So you get the uk.linkedin.com, or wherever you are in the world. But then you've got here, she's completed it just with her name, Lisa Whitehead. As standard, it comes with a series of numbers after it. So you just need to edit, make sure your name's available, to register, and then it's done. And you can put that link on websites and other places, friendly links on your business cards, etc. Okay, so that's the first thing about the LinkedIn profile. Now, next up, I've got a couple of things highlighted here. First thing is the most important thing that appears on your profile are recommendations, because they're written by other people, by people who you've done work for. They trust you. They've spent the time to write a paragraph of text or more about the value that you provide. Now, there's often a question mark over, well, I can't just go and ask everybody to recommend me. But think about this. Quite often people have already recommended you on other websites. And all you need to do is perhaps just get in touch with them and say, would you mind adding that text into LinkedIn? You can even do an ask to be recommended request that goes out to them and say, well, here's a text of what you'd said before. Would you mind just confirming and putting that onto the website? There's lots of different things. One of the best ways actually is to actually, first of all, give them a recommendation, and then they'll return the favour. So if you've done work for each other, you know, partnerships are often that way, collaborations, then you do the recommendation first, pay it forward, and you'll get the results back. Now, the second part of this section is the multimedia, because this is actually a snippet from Lisa's page again, and underneath where it says recommendations, there's a couple of rectangular items there. Now, what these are clickable links. Now, one is a link to the website, and one is actually a link to a resource guide that can be signed up for. It's very simple to add to your LinkedIn profile. You don't need to spend a lot of time on this. You just basically search for the website link, put it in, or upload a photo. It can also be presentations, it can be video, all sorts of things, and it breaks up that black and white text, the traditional resume CV style. Instead of just having that black and white text, it's broken up by these items that they can click on. So add multimedia. And on to our next main focus area. Now this one, and now we've got Jill's profile, one of my first level connections. Now, for anyone who's not familiar with the process of connections, it's like the degrees of separation. Famously, we're all 6 degrees of separation. Was it Kevin Bacon? Well, in LinkedIn, there are 3 levels, and it's probably true that pretty much connects you to most of the people out there on LinkedIn, all of the hundreds of millions. So a first level is someone you connect with, and they accept your invite. You're mutually connected. You can send private messages to each other. You can see who else these people know. All of that's open to you by making them a connection. Then you have the second level, which are basically friends of friends. So connections that are connected to your business contacts, but not to you so far. And then there's the third, which is the friends of friends of friends. So somewhere along the line there's a connection. And you may ask somebody in your list of connections to introduce you to that person. There's various things. So what we can see from the profile here is, as you visit somebody, you can see more details about them. So you can see or add more details essentially. So you can add a note, you can add a reminder, and you can put them in a category. Now think about all the various LinkedIn connections you collect over time, and you can't necessarily always instantly recall how you met them and how you know them. It would be great to organise them. So what you can do is you can create your own tags, little luggage label symbol, and you can say, well, okay, that's someone I know from business networking, East Midlands networking, League of Businesses, whatever it is. You name the tags, they work for you, and then you can filter everyone in your connections list and just see the people that you're interested in at that particular time. So that's tagging. A reminder, just set that. Again, all of this stuff is only visible to you. They don't your other connection does not see this. you can say, right, I want to get in touch with Jill, so I've got there to talk about Totally Locally in a week's time, and I'll get an email reminder from LinkedIn for that as well. So make LinkedIn do the work for you. That's the thing. And one last thing is to note is that if you then click on the 177 connections that Jill has, that's going to open up, as you can see here, everybody that she's connected to and also how they relate to you. So people such as here, Sue Armstrong is a second level connection, but here it says there's 102 people that I've got in common with Sue. So maybe Sue would be more likely to be someone to introduce myself to, send a connection request. Similarly there, Lizzie Jordan, 113 in common. Now, just to say, on the sending a request, it is actually quite an important moment in terms of if you don't really know the person that well, what you don't want to do is just send an automatic message straight through to them. So you don't want to just click connect here directly, because that sends a I'd like to connect with you, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn network. Pretty impersonal, and there's a possibility that it may say I'm not sure who you are, ignore the request. And worst case scenario, a few of those ignores and LinkedIn could even suspend your account. But the right approach is to click on the name and go right through to the profile like we saw on the previous slide. And then when you're in that profile, so this is an invite for Lizzie Jordan, you say, how do you know them? Well, we've done business together. Select that checkbox. Most commonly, they could be friends, I suppose, or ex people you work with, whatever. Select the current role that you're talking about there, and then just say a little bit extra. So just say something along the lines of how you met them, or just put some context, personalize it, and then just click send invitation. Now, you get all these connections over time. You've got 500 plus in a lot of profiles you'll see. Now, every single connection you make, you can have their email address just by clicking on their profile and just clicking on contact info. But wouldn't it be great if you could actually take all of the people in your connections and export them, put them all into one simple list, an Excel, a CSV, a comma separated value file that basically can be imported into email systems, into newsletter systems, or even just into normal Outlook, and it will enable you to get in touch with people and manage the list of people who you know, and again, organize that better. Now, it's 3 simple steps. Under my connections, under my network, you just click on, in the right hand corner there's a little star wheel, a cog. From that, second step is to click advanced settings and then select export LinkedIn connections, and then the final step is to export it to either to a comma separated file if that's within a Windows machine, or alternatively to a Mac OS system. And it's done. It'll download, takes a minute or so. You've got the file there. It's theirs for you to use. So let's move on now to focus area number 3. Focus area 3 is a search bar that you get at the top of pretty much all social networks. It's a core feature. But what people don't take full advantage of is the advanced capabilities. And I'm talking here really specifically around the ability to not just search by the whole of a social network, but to narrow it down to a geography and actually say search within the UK, and then say search within this postcode area within a number of miles. So what you're looking at on this screenshot is an example of a search for 3 specific words in quotations, so social media training. That means it has to have all those 3 words together in the results. I search through all the people out there on LinkedIn, and I exclude, in this case, anyone who's already a first level connection because I'm already connected to them. I'm targeting within Nottingham 1, within 25 miles, anybody else who delivers social media training, just to make some potential collaborations and understand who else is out there and who else I can work with. And as a result, I get 26 results. So quite a useful, narrow set of results. And that search, I think this is the best bit, that search can continue to run in the background. LinkedIn will email me if there are any new results, either on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So this is a saved search. When you run the search, in the top right hand corner you select to save it, and then you can have at least, so at any one time you can have 3 saved searches. You can have ones like this, so the word and another word, so both of those phrases, or there's it's called a Boolean search. I'm not going to get into the technicals, but it means that you can really be quite specific, and it's worth spending the time to narrow it down so it's the most useful search for you. These are weekly alerts or monthly alerts. There below is an example of an email that came through to see if there's any new results for social media training. You can rotate whichever ones are the saved searches. If you had the premium version where you pay for LinkedIn on a monthly basis, you can even have more of these searches. But it's definitely worth using the facility because it's there. It's just going to run all the time. It'll find you people that you're really interested in connecting with. It's not about just looking through who's invited you again to LinkedIn and who wants to connect with you. You're actually proactively being able to identify people that you want to connect with. So that is the crux of advanced search. Now, number 4, LinkedIn groups. What I'm really specifically talking about here is the idea of actually going ahead and setting up your own group. So instead of just, you can join up to 50 different groups, but I'm not advocating spending a lot of time going into the different groups, joining in discussions, posting topics, because in my experience, there's a wide variety in how responsive groups are and how active they are, and you may find a mixed bag of results. But one thing is for sure, if you create your own group, you've immediately got the control, the ability to manage who you invite to that group, who you accept, how you show the discussions, loads of different options. So the best way to get familiar with how to really use groups well is to go ahead and create your own group. Very easy to do. Go to interests from the main menu and groups and say create a group. Set up a couple of logos, put the ground rules out there, and you're done. And just one last thing to show, when you talk about earlier when the connections have been exported, all the contacts, it's great that you're able to email out to all those people. Now actually within LinkedIn itself, if you own a group, you're given the opportunity once per week to send a full announcement to every member of your group. Now that can be potentially, in group sizes, it can be up to 100,000 or more. But either way, because they're in your group, they will get an email and they'll also get a LinkedIn notification. So twice the prompt in to say, oh, there's a new message, there's a new update. So here I've got an announcement about a mobile friendly guide that I want to get to everyone. So, and here you can just see some of the options you've got as a manager of a group. Sending information, groups, you can even see the profiles of people in the groups, see what kind of business they operate and all this sort of stuff. So LinkedIn groups can be really useful. And another quick thing about LinkedIn is that if you're in a group with somebody, even though you're not a first level connection, you are able to send them a private message because they're in the same group as you. So it gets around that problem of it's a second level connection, I don't have their email, I can't really get in touch with them. If they're in the same group as you, you are able to send a little private message and just say, it'd be good to connect. and that's a great way to get around things. Okay, so number 5. Now, often seen as not being widely used still, not a lot of adoption, but company pages. If you're talking about people being able to understand there's your role within the company and your personal profile, but you link through from that through to a company page where someone else can see, a visitor can see everyone else that possibly works at that company. Now, this example I've got here is a local marketing agency in Lincoln who've really done well in using the company page, because company page isn't just a static page to say this is our site, this is our logo. You can put articles, you can publish updates from that page. And as a marketing company, I guess you'd expect they'd be quite good at this, but they've built a real following, over 4,700 followers of these updates. And that's a lot of potential people who can be connected to. Anyone who's the admin of the page can click on that number of followers and just see everybody who's there on the page, everybody who's followed it. And of course, if you visit, you can see, well, I've got 1 first level connection, 3 in this case, 5 second degrees, and there's 12 other people. So you want to find a specific person in a larger company, you can find out who else works there. Just from 1 connection, you can get all this information. So at least I would recommend setting up a LinkedIn company page. All you need is the domain, email address for your site, so it can only be registered once. So you can't just register a company page with a Gmail or a Hotmail account. It has to be registered with an official domain account. But once that's done, then that's all you need to focus on. Yes, you might put updates out there. But what I'm going to show you in this final 6th focus area is another way you can publish. And this is from your own personal profile again. So this is a relatively new thing for the basic free version of LinkedIn, that you're able now to blog. So publish, draft, and then create a draft and then publish it, articles directly onto the LinkedIn platform. And that's done in this LinkedIn Pulse. Now, this is an example again from Lisa we saw earlier. She's created an article to mark International Women's Day with a big headline. It's got social media links immediately. Now, you might think, well, I've already got articles out there on the web, but you can repurpose them. You can put them out there again onto LinkedIn. And you may reach new audiences. The thing is that LinkedIn will look at somebody's profile and who they're connected to and recommend LinkedIn articles to them based on the type of content they're interested in. So me as a social media trainer would tend to get a lot of articles around that social media marketing and topics in that area. So if someone's not a connection but they happen to see your article, they can comment, they can interact, and it may well generate you new potential leads or prospects. So that's really concludes our 6 focus areas. I think going through from the initial profile and getting your stall set out correctly and representing yourself in the best possible way, going through how you make connections and make the most of those, getting involved then in finding the people that you want to connect with, and then building groups, growing your group presence, building authority, taking you through to writing the content, putting it out onto company page, onto your own pages. These are all bits that can be done in bite-size chunks. None of this needs to be done hours and hours a week. It's got to fit around your schedule. It's so important that you use it wisely as a supplement, as a support for your other business activities. It's difficult to think, well, LinkedIn is now the primary marketing tool or anything like that. You can't think in those terms, but LinkedIn should certainly be of assistance If you've got a meeting with a client coming up and you want some information about them, you can tell such a lot, not only from their profile, but who else they know in the network. And that's great preparation. Also, you build a relationship over time. You don't have to immediately go into the business mode. And in those relationships, partnerships, collaborations can really emerge. Okay, so now we're going to go live demo. So let's see how this goes. We'll just go straight over to LinkedIn. He says, and there we go. So this is logged in as myself. This is the home area. And what you're seeing there at the moment are any updates that are going on in the people that I'm connected with. You may have recognized that from the last bit, but we're actually going to start where I was talking about the personal headline. So you go to profile, and as you can see there's 3 menu options, and the one to select to make adjustments is edit profile. Now within edit profile, hopefully you can see here with the stars, you've got different words to represent my skill sets. Now also bear in mind, I didn't mention this earlier, but when someone does a search up here, the keywords that it's looking for, that LinkedIn wants to match you with the right, the person looking with the right results, these are really important. These are high ranking keywords. So internet marketing, trainer would give me a more chance of being found by people looking for those areas. So if you edit, you just want to click on the pencil icon. You can see what others in your industry are using. And so I can see other social media people, TV and media. I like that one. I build robots that do social media marketing. Melissa's similar with the stars. Liam's got the separators. So, you know, just do that. Take the moment to do that. Make the changes. I haven't actually updated my LinkedIn custom link, mainly because it links from my website and I haven't got around to changing it. I don't want those buttons to be out of date. So just bear that in mind when you do make changes here. Scroll down. Here's some examples of multimedia I talked about. So that's a link to a video. That's a link to my about page on my website. This is a really important setting to have. Always set it to no, because when you're making changes to your profile, you don't want everyone in your network to think, oh, we've got a new role or you've got a new job because something's changed on your profile. It's really irritating for people. If you want to add additional multimedia, click on this button to add a video, image, document or presentation. And you can see it's just simply as either click the upload button, upload a file, or just cut and paste in the website link to the article. Further down, what you can see here in my experience statement is the link to my company page. So that would take us directly through to the company page. You just need to go back, if you go and create a page and then you want to link your profile to it, just edit the position and say where you work and it'll pick up the company page. And as we get down here, so we're going to the recommendations. So this is what I'm talking about. You've got people who've written information about you, shared that, and you can share that with your page, and it's there for anyone who visits your profile to get an immediate impression of what you can do and how you might be able to help them. Finally, on profile, obviously you have to fill out quite as much as this. One thing I didn't mention in the slides is the skills and endorsements, which is a similar area to the recommendations, but the difference being that it's mainly focused on keywords. So you can put in up to 50 skills listed, and people in your network can say, yes, Paul has social media, yes, training skills, whatever it is. Now it's a bit of a mismatch because quite often LinkedIn will suggest to people in a pop-up, does Paul have these skills? Does this person have these skills? And people will just say yes, yes, yes. And so you may be endorsed for skills that they don't necessarily know you actually have. I certainly had that problem when I worked in the IT industry before. I used to be endorsed for things that I know the people only know me for social media. So, but at the same time, having a skill is more of a chance of being found in search results. So it's not something that should be ignored. You should certainly complete as many of these skills as possible. Okay, I think that's enough for the profile. Just one last thing is there's a background area you can fill in. So if you do have a logo or something that can fit in that space, I've just got fluffy clouds to be honest, you can add it there. So under my network, when we talked about your connections, so we'll leave this page now and go through to connections. And first thing I want to show you is literally exporting all of those connections. As I mentioned, when you get through to the menu, you've got this little cogwheel. You can click the cogwheel and that brings up this two other steps. Advanced settings, export LinkedIn connections, export to a CSV. You can change that option if you want. I'm going to say export. Then you prove that you're a human being. So type in the verification number. Let's hope it works first time, and hey presto. So yeah, literally it's downloading right now. A quick view of that file when it's opened. And what you'll see is the name, first and last name, and there the email address, and you go across, you can also get the company. So you can tidy up these columns, you can remove a few and make it simpler to use as a list of email contacts to get in touch with. So going back then to my network and connections, similar to the example I gave, you just look at one connection in your list and then see what other information you can find out about them. So let's just ignore these birthday updates. Here's a fairly new connect from Business Networking the other day. So we'll go through to Katie's profile. So as a first level connection, as I pointed out earlier, I'm able to see the 500 plus connections that she has and any that I have in common. So if I click on that where the number is there, I can see all 500 plus, 11 we've got in common, and then I can see individually within each of these 500 plus, go through several pages and see if I've got a lot of other connections. There may be some ideas about people. I could get a lot of other things from just being in a connection. So I've got people similar to Katie, I've got other people who viewed, as well as her profile, I've also viewed other ones. So these could be good clues. I can even see what groups Katie's a member of. I can see recommendations there. And there may be some that I'm not yet a member of that I might want to join. So just from one connection, all that great information. And if I want to capture some of these things, that's nice in the message about the presentation. I could set a reminder in a day, in a week, in a month to get back in touch with Katie. So I'm going to say follow up after presentation in a week. And now this is only a note to myself. She won't see any of these notes. I can use the tag to put her into where I met her. So I met her at the Business Networking group in Lincoln. So she'll be added to that list. And I'll just click save. And then if I want to just see, oh, there you go, it is live. Try that again. And we'll just click save. If I want to see a filtered list of just the people in that set of tags, I can go to connections, and there's an option to filter by, instead of all contacts, you could say, scroll down here, filter by tag. So I can say, well, I just want to see tags from Business Club in Lincoln, and there's Katie in there, and other people that I've added over time. So I can actually send a message to a combination of people who are just in that particular tag category. So that's an overview of the connections. So many useful resources can come from that. And similarly now, in the third section, advanced search. Simply, I can type into that box, but I'm just going to say advanced and bring up the settings that I showed you earlier in the slides. We can do, this is a search for pretty much everyone out there. So at the moment I haven't typed anything in. Now if I search for free, actually let's just search for social media marketing as an exact phrase match, and instead of saying location everywhere, I change that to in or near. I say the country, change that to the UK. It's always a bit of a scroll down. There we are. And in or near, let's say postcode Lincoln 1, and within 25 miles. Hit the search button and the results will come through. Now I've got 1,901, so perhaps that's a rather too many. I go back to advanced, I can change it now to just second level connections only, and let's rerun that search, perhaps narrow the search to within 10 miles, and that's reduced down to 277. At any point I want to save this search, I just go over here, click save search, and I can, obviously I'll have to remove one or two of these existing searches and it'll be added in there. Now that's people searches. You can actually do job searches for up to 10 different, let's say advanced, more jobs, companies. There's lots of other things to explore, but it's just really to show the power of the saved search in something that can run in the background all the time. Part 4 we looked at was the groups. So interests groups is how you come to that menu. You basically can see all of the groups that you're currently a member of listed together, and at the top will be the ones that you actually directly manage yourself. So I can see that under my groups. It'll give you a little snapshot of what groups are active at the moment. So yeah, these are ones that may have some moderation, so people have actually requested to join, so I could confirm their role within the group. And often, you know, it's people from outside of your network, so it's a good way to get to know. But the fact that they're interested in social media training is a great clue that they want further information. So you obviously go through and take a look at them. I'll accept Kerry because no Kerry for now, and notice here you've got all the manage options, so you can set as group rules. Here you've got all the send announcement that I talked about, where you can send an announcement to everybody in the group. You can send invitations to your connections, and you know the permissions to the group depends whether it's an open group or one that is private. Either way, you set it so that you approve membership. And if you click on members, you'll see the list of all of the members that are in there at the moment. And you can then click on their individual profile, send them a message, and all of those things. So that's groups. And then finally, company pages. So again, you click the yellow button here to create a company page. There's some that I already manage, my own page there. You can also create something called a showcase page, which is a sub page of your company page. It depends on what you're planning to use it for. Are you going to send out regular updates? I've got far fewer followers for my company page than say Fill the Gap Marketing, so I don't put a lot of updates out there from it. But at the same time, at least you get a chance to see how many people viewed a particular post. And say if there's multiple people working for the same company, they could all share the update with their own networks, so that could reach more people as a result. There you can see Pulse. That's where you can get all the news feed on the articles that other people have created that LinkedIn think will be of interest to you. Darth Vader, Star Wars, book about Star Wars. Must have clicked on some of that stuff more recently. But yeah, you can filter through what topics you want to receive information on. So to add an update, just to go through that, back to the home page, you click on either share an update, which is just an immediate update with a link to somewhere else, or publish a post where you want to add a Pulse article. I've got 123 posts. A lot of them are in draft. I've imported them into there and I'm looking to publish them over time. If you want to see what updates you've previously put out, you just go to Profile, Your Updates, and you can see the ones that are published. Again, you just have a header photo area, and then you can look at how many views you've got, how many people have liked it, how many people have commented. I think that's the first one. Probably have more comments through that one. Drill down into it and just get some feedback, potentially people to follow up with, and get the reactions. Always good to ask questions and link to other resources from these Pulse updates. And as I say, if you've already got existing content, well, why not use it? It's an opportunity. Okay, so that's pretty much the live demo part. As we go now to talking to the services that I can provide, certainly if you'd be interested in a walkthrough video like this one, but specifically tailored to you, to your company, to your LinkedIn profile, to get direct insight and tips into how you might be able to develop your profile, just get some key insights, I'd be delighted to talk to you about a tailored video review. A 30-minute review, it's just £50. So really good investment, because you get to watch that video over and over again as many times as you like, and we can sit down and have a chat. And if you do then take up any of my training packages, the great news is that you get whatever you've booked on, whatever you've done, you get the £50 refunded or taken off the next bit of training that you get. So it's really, you've got nothing to lose whatsoever. You've got a great opportunity to get insight. It's something that I find has really benefited so many of my clients, because it's just there, it's personal to them. It's not a public viewable video. It's just something that they can go through and make the changes and be shown how to do it, rather than just sort of given a set of tasks to go away and do. And where do you start? That's what the step-by-step guides are there for as well, so that if you want a LinkedIn setup that goes through all the key areas, the profile, the connections, groups, all of that aspect in a sequence format. So instead of having to do everything at once, get the profile right first, then move on. That's what those guides are there for, and I'll send those out to anyone who requests them and to anyone that attends this presentation. Finally, just a thought on how social media can really get to know you over time. Now, I've used the Homer Simpson icon at the beginning. I'm quite well known in the local networking circuit for liking the odd buffet or two to go along with the meetings. I do take along my food box to take home any leftovers, because I think it's a right waste otherwise. So somehow LinkedIn has picked up on this in its suggestion of places I might like to work, and Just Eat, I think, would fit the bill very nicely. No plans to change at this point, but you never know. I can certainly picture myself there. Thanks very much for listening. I hope that you're able to take the action points that I've suggested, that you found it easy enough to follow it, and I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your feedback on the presentation. These are all my contact details. Please get in touch. Love to work with you and get your LinkedIn profile doing the work for you. That's what it's all about. I'm Paul from PR Wilson Media, your social media personal trainer. Cheers.